What I started to see work was this concept of stewardship, being able to step up and take control of your current situation to ultimately create more peace, more control, more progress, and honestly, better days, more blessings. How can I do better with my current situation? Can I budget better? Can I plan better? Can I save better? Can I invest better? Can I give more? Can I pay off debts better? I went from making really good money at Hopkins to stewarding my money really well. I got a nice raise while I was there, had some side hustles come my way that were like so in line with my values, right? Whether it was lacrosse based, whether it was financial based, whether it was mentoring people based, right? Just these amazing side hustles coming from left and right. Financial chaos, it repels wealth, right? It repels abundance. Financial order attracts abundance, right? Money flows to order. If God were to evaluate how you've managed your money so far, would he bless you with more? Hi, I'm Justin Buonamo, and this is Wisdom is Wealth. Wisdom is Wealth is designed to give you guys practical insights, modern strategies, and even timeless philosophies around gaining wisdom in your life. The wiser we get, the wealthier we will become. This podcast really is inspired by the book of Proverbs in the Bible, which was written by King Solomon, who prayed to God for wisdom and as a byproduct became the wealthiest person to ever live. If he was still alive today in present day, he'd be worth $1.3 trillion with a T. Not because he prayed for wealth, but he prayed to God to give him wisdom. And as he grew wiser, as a byproduct, he grew wealthier, particularly financially, but not just stopping there, in every facet of his life. And in my own life, I have realized that the wealthier I become, it's truthfully just because I have become wiser in life. I'm gonna bring on guests that are incredibly successful, incredibly amazing human beings, and have an amazing financial wealth that they've grown for themselves. And they're gonna share wisdom on their life experience in totality in hopes that something becomes valuable for you to implement in your process, in your life, and in your journey, and see how wisdom truthfully is wealth. Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom is Wealth. Today we're going to dive into some topics that are super helpful when it comes to your financial situation, when it comes to truthfully building wealth. And I'm going to use part of my story to kind of teach from that, highlight the importance, not just the importance of the topics that I'm going to talk about, but more so the belief in them, the passion behind them, and not even just results or conviction from my own results, but just watching hundreds of my clients' lives transform because of the topic that we're going to talk about here today. It's just what makes me believe in this like no other. And I know I've recently done a podcast on the topic of stewardship, which we're going to reiterate a little bit here today. And I said in that podcast, I believe, I often get asked, like, what is one piece of financial advice that you would give people, right? Right now, if you could only give them one. And I never say it's, make more money or get this promotion or invest in this stock or pay this debt off. Though those things might be helpful, don't get me wrong. But one piece of advice? It's powerful. It's a powerful and important choice. And so I want to make sure it's a powerful and impactful topic that not only strongly works, but also that I strongly believe in. And that topic is stewardship, right? Being able to step up and take control of your current situation to ultimately create more peace, more control, more progress, and honestly, better days, more blessings. It's almost impossible, right, for God to bless you with more. Again, actually, nothing's impossible for God. Let me correct myself there, right? But we make the odds very low, right, for God to bless us with more, to bless us with better, especially over the long term or consistently, if we're not handling our current situation correctly. An easier way to put it is just like, how can we expect God to give us more money if we're not handling our current money correctly? And so I love the question. I think I left you guys on this possibly on one of my past podcasts, which has said that, like, if God was to evaluate how you've managed your money so far, would he trust you with more? And this isn't a guilt trip or making anybody feel shameful, but also there are some facts to this. There's this concept I believe in called cause and effect. And that cause and effect is, like Luke 16:10 says, the one who can be trusted with little can be trusted with more. And so most times the biggest bottleneck that people have with their finances is just not handling their current situation correctly. And that's good news. That's good news. And I keep referencing an old podcast episode that I did on this, but like I talked about in that episode, it's like, that's good news because that's the solution is readily available to us. We can make change right now. We can implement the solution right now that is a key to bettering your finances. The number one needle mover for your finances is available to you right now, which is just like, okay, how can I do better with my current situation? Can I budget better? Can I plan better? Can I save better? Can I invest better? Can I give more? Can I pay off debts better, right? Like all of that, just naming a few different things, that all of that can be tied into being a better steward of your money. And so I'm going to talk here a little bit about, my own story, my own journey with stewardship. And so a lot of I'll kind of, I won't go too deep into this, but I recently just did a podcast episode on this as well, where like the bankruptcies that my parents filed for throughout my childhood really impacted me. And also when I was 18, I got a settlement for $80,000. I blew that in 2 years. I literally, 2 years into having that money, I remember calling my dad, crying, asking him for $5 to be able to go buy lunch while I was in college because I had no money in my account. And man, was that a tough phone call. Thankfully, my dad handled it really well, and he was really welcoming and loving. He's like, yeah, I'm going to send you 50, But the point being is like, that's what I've come from, like those bankruptcies, that old mistake on my own end. And so I won't dive too deep into those particular stories because I've dived deep into them, into the past and past episodes. But really what I want to talk about is like kind of what happened after that. Like when I ended up graduating college, going into the corporate world, and from there, what happened and what led me to where I'm at now. And so I, thankfully, by the grace of God, I graduated and got my master's by the time I was 23 years old. Shortly after that, was offered an amazing position at Johns Hopkins Hospital, working on the business side of healthcare. And so a little bit of my history in college, I studied nursing and pre-med with the intentions of becoming a physician, but things changed, God had different plans, right? And I ended up instead going to medical school. I got my master's in healthcare administration, right? Which is kind of like, people call it like the MBA of healthcare, right? It teaches you the business side of healthcare, the business side of hospitals, which is a real thing. Like they're organizations, they're businesses at the end of the day. And so like the people that walk around in the hospital in like the suit and tie, like the admin side of the hospital, the president, the vice president, the chief nursing officer, all of those positions and everybody below them. And so got my master's in healthcare management. I had an amazing opportunity to work at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, fresh out of my grad school. And I've told this story before, but they definitely hired me for a position that I was massively underqualified on paper for. Thankfully, I had a good mentor who got me in. And then also I interviewed really well. And I think they were kind of desperate too, because the position had been open for a little bit longer than a year. And here we are. They gave me the position. And it was awesome. It was an amazing experience. But I started making a lot of money at a really young age. And thankfully, I was wise enough then to just be like, okay, I'm only going to make more money. If I stay in the corporate world, like it was pretty clear, like I was just going to climb the corporate ladder, whether it was at Johns Hopkins or at a different institution. And every time I took a step, every 2 to 3 years, when you get that promotion in the corporate world, I was only going to make more money. And I was already making a lot starting off. And so that epiphany helped me be like, okay, I should probably learn how to manage my money correctly. And I said in my last episode, I didn't want to be that guy who made a lot of money, had no money, made a lot of money, had no money, and also had a lot of debt. That just didn't feel right to me. It didn't make sense. I didn't want to repeat mistakes from my childhood. And I just didn't, whether that happened in my childhood or not, I just didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be a good steward of my money. And so thankfully, I'm 23, 24 years old, working at Hopkins and making a good amount of money, decent expenses. I had some roommates living downtown, didn't have any crazy expenses, so very manageable, especially for my salary. And then the idea of me only making more, right, really gave me the motivation to learn how to be a good steward of my money. And thankfully at Hopkins, a lot of the duties that I was doing inside of my positions that I had there were financial based. So I was learning how to put P&Ls together or a budget. Right? I was learning how money worked. I was learning how to plan. I was learning how to be responsible. I was learning that money was a real thing. And I was learning that there's tools and systems out there that can make understanding money, managing it, and growing it easy and effective. And so I took a lot of the skills that I was learning, let's just call it 24 years old at this point, and started implementing them into my personal life. Oh, I learned how to put a budget together for a business. Why don't I just take this format and put a budget together for my personal life? And so I love a good quality budgeting system, right? Especially when it doesn't come from scarcity, doesn't come from restriction, right? Really a good quality budgeting system just allows you to live your life, allows you to spend your money and make financial progress at the same time. And so it just makes you feel like you're in control of your money, right? Financial chaos is no fun, right? But when you're able to see where your money's coming from, allocate where it's going, manage the expenses, leave a little left over for you to go live your life, it's a beautiful feeling. So I started doing that. Started getting some good results. My savings was building. I had no bad debt. Was utilizing credit cards the right way. My credit score was awesome. Started investing some money, which was really cool at a young age. And then started helping a couple of friends with this, right? Like they picked up on that I was doing well with my money through conversations, and or maybe just leading by example. And so I started having a couple conversations with a couple of friends and family members that were like, man, I am jacked up financially. I know you got a little thing going on right now, that you're utilizing for yourself, systems and some strategies. Can you help me out? And so I think this was like 3 or 4 different people. And I was like, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll do it for free as long as you promise to just utilize what I teach you. And they held their end of the bargain up, and then they started to get really good results. And I'm like, I might have something here. But before we get there, what I started to see work was this concept of stewardship, right? Stewardship is doing your best to manage your current situation well, right? Stewardship can be applied to any topic, right? It just means how you manage something. And so being a good steward means you're a good manager of something. So that could be for anything. Good manager of your health, good manager of your family, good manager of your relationships, good manager for your money. And so I think in that faith-based community over the past 10 or so years, the word stewardship has been strongly correlated to finances, which is good. People want to be a good steward of their money. And so I started to really see this concept play out in my life. I'm like, man, the better I manage my money, the luckier I get with money. The better I manage my money, the more doors God opens up for me. The better I manage my money, the more blessings God gives me. And I started to fully see this concept of stewardship play out in my life, where at times when I'm not managing my money well, the blessings are limited, right? The opportunities are limited, right? And the peace is definitely limited, right? But when I manage my money well, I was like, oh, wow. There's just no explanation for this opportunity or blessing that God just gave me outside of like, well done, good and faithful servant, right? The parable of the talents. Like, you've managed your money well that I've blessed you with. I gave you increase. You managed that increase well. I gave you another increase. And it's just a beautiful cycle to see happen, right? No, things aren't perfect, and no, stewardship doesn't mean you have to be perfect, right? God made us imperfect human beings on purpose, right? So does he expect us to be perfect? No, but he expects us to give us a good intention, right? Or have good intention, give good efforts, be consistent in those intentions and efforts to ultimately learn how to manage our money in a way that honors him, right? And glorifies him. But that doesn't mean you have to be broke. It doesn't mean you have to be out of sight, out of mind with money, right? And so before I get a little bit too off track there, the point of me saying this is, no, we do not do these things because we want to be blessed. We're not just like, hey, I'm going to manage my money solely for the reason because Justin told me God would bless me with more, right? No, God knows our motives better than us, right? Like when we do something nice, right? God knows our motive. He's like, was that actually nice? Right? Or did you just do that for X, Y, and Z reason that is, there's an underlying motive is what that would be called, right? And so no, we do not want to manage our money better with the sole motive or underlying motive of, if I do this, God's going to bless me, right? No, that's why we can't do it. We have to do it. That's truthfully what God calls us to do, right? Throughout the Bible, God calls us to be a good steward of everything he blesses us with, particularly money, right? And so we want to do what God is calling us to do because we love him and want to serve him, and we know it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, it's okay to know that there's a possible byproduct, or the byproduct being a possible reward for you being a good and faithful servant, a good and faithful steward of your money. Right? So my point of saying this is manage your money, right? Because God calls you to do that. It's the right thing to do. But it's also okay to know that you most likely are going to increase the probability of you being blessed with more because you've proven you can handle what you already have. And so financial chaos, it repels wealth, right? It repels abundance. Financial order attracts abundance, right? Money flows to order, right? Money flows to order. Remember that. And so I think a big part of that is this concept of stewardship. The better we manage our money, the better our financial situation gets. Because even if God doesn't bless us with more, as a result, managing your money better compared to not managing your money well is a heck of a better strategy, heck of a lot better of a strategy to increase your financial peace, your control, and your progress, and hopefully eventually your freedom. Like I always say, there's only 2 options you have with your money. It's either take control or keep doing what you're doing, right? Or it's the financial stress of addressing or the financial stress of avoiding. You might as well pick the one that's got a strong return on investment. And that's even if we leave out the blessings from God, right? We leave out the increase from God, right? Even if that doesn't even ever happen, right? Between the 2 choices that you have, neglect, ignore, right? Keep doing what you're doing, financial chaos or financial control. Pick financial control because it's going to massively decrease your stress and anxiety and increase your opportunities in life. And so 95% of the stress and anxiety that people have with finances are avoidable, right? I used to use the phrase unnecessary. And my mentor, Jake, he corrected me. He's like, is it unnecessary? Right? Or is it necessary for the time being? So people learn. God grooms us in tension. And so the financial stress, that tension, like God's trying to teach you something in it. And so basically you don't need it, that you can avoid it, that you can grow through it. Right? But so I stopped using the word, or do my best to stop using the word financial stress is unnecessary. Right? Because there is some point to it if God has you in it. But it's avoidable, is more so. Like we're signing up for it. We're choosing it. Because what you're not changing, you're choosing. And so I have just seen this concept of stewardship work so well in my life. Right? I went from making really good money at Hopkins, stewarding my money really well. At that first job, I got a nice raise while I was there. Had some side hustles come my way that were like so in line with my values. Right? Whether it was lacrosse based, whether it was financial based, whether it was mentoring people based, right? Just these amazing side hustles coming from left and right, where like I can manage them with my time, my energy. If anything, it complemented what I was doing in my career, and I was making a bunch of money and impact in the process of doing it, having fun doing those things. Those are opportunities that I welcomed. That was increase that I welcomed. I stewarded that well. Then I got a big promotion at Hopkins where I got a big jump in salary, big jump in position, and big jump in duties. And so I believe I welcomed that. Right? I believe I welcomed it, especially at such a young age. I went from 24, I stayed at Johns Hopkins Hospital till I was about 25 or 26, and then took the jump to one of our community hospitals inside the Johns Hopkins system with that large increase in pay, duties, and title. Beautiful corner office, reporting directly to the president of the hospital. It was an amazing opportunity. And I believe I welcomed that. Right? I believe I welcomed it, and still we're welcoming amazing side hustles, amazing other revenue streams, right? My investments were growing, right? My savings was growing. My financial peace was growing. And then JFF started. August 2020, almost out of the freaking blue. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. I had a little financial system. I was helping people behind the scenes, but I was doing the majority of it for free. But one of the women that I was helping for free that I was working with at the hospital, she approached me a couple of months before JFF started, and she was like, my coach wants to know about your program, or learn about your program. And I'm like, huh? What program? I got a couple of spreadsheets, and like you text me with some questions that come into my office, once a week. Like, what program? What are we talking about here? And so a couple of months goes by, and she says it again. She's like, my coach wants to learn about your financial program. What she was referencing was the help that I was giving her with her finances that was thankfully drastically changing her reality around money. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll take a call. I put a pitch together and a program together the night before I hop on this call, and after 15 minutes, this woman, everybody, I think a lot of people know, just say her name, Kelly Brock, starts crying after 15 minutes of talking to me, learning about my program that I just created the night before, right? And ends up signing up, paying in full on the spot. And since that day, she has sent me millions of dollars in referrals, right? Millions of dollars in people that she just sends my way, right? And so winding our way back to August 2020, it kind of came out of left field, and God was like, you're ready for increase, right? You're ready for more. And then I think a lot of you guys know, if not, a big part of the business story is the second year in business, we made over $1 million. The second year in business, I almost made $1.2 million with JFF, right? And I don't think that was any coincidence. I think that massive increase and that massive abundance was all the glory to God, glorify Him all day long with that. But I played my part. No, it wasn't perfect. I made plenty of mistakes, right? But that's a part of the process. But I kept trying. I kept being a good steward of my money. I was budgeting well, I was managing well, I was saving, I was investing, I was avoiding and paying off bad debt, right? I was tithing, I was doing the things God was calling me to do at a high level with my money. And all of that resulted from was just increase after increase. Gave me an increase, stewarded it well. Gave me an increase, stewarded it well. And when I'm stuck kind of at a financial level, especially when I feel called to a higher one, that I feel it's aligned with what God wants for my life, but I'm stuck and I can't get there, my first check is, how am I stewarding my current situation, right? And I usually find areas for opportunity there. I take action, I be a good and faithful steward of my money, and guess what happens? Financial breakthrough. Immediately financial peace, for sure, right? And then the financial breakthrough, the increase, the blessing. And so it's just this beautiful cycle to see happen. And I've seen it happen with hundreds of my clients as well. People that truthfully buy into this concept of stewardship, crush my program, become a good steward of their money, usually see increase, usually see the abundance. They usually unlock the next level or the opportunities that they're looking for. The financial peace that you desire is in the stewardship that you're avoiding, right? The financial opportunity that you're trying to unlock is in the stewardship that you're lacking. And so I believe in this so much, I have rebranded my financial coaching program to be called the Good Steward Program. For about 5 years now, it's been called the JFF membership, right? And so JFF is the business name, Journey to Financial Freedom, right? It's a financial coaching company for the faith-based and ambitious. And so we have a program that is a financial coaching program. It's an amazing program. Almost 1,000 people have been through it by now. It's a well-oiled machine. We're not perfect, but it is a well-oiled machine. It gets people great results when it comes to doing better with their money, right? It's being able to learn how to manage their money in a way that glorifies God without all that restrictiveness and scarcity and unnecessary stuff in the process, right? How can you manage your money that glorifies God, but also you can still live your life in the process? And so that's what we do. And we teach you how to be a good steward of your money, right? To massively increase the blessings that you're given, but most importantly, just take control of your current situation and bring that peace amongst your finances by eliminating the avoidable stress and anxiety that just comes when you're not being a good steward of your money. So I believe in it so much, I renamed my program, The Good Steward. The Good Steward, a financial coaching program for the faith-based and ambitious, right? And so I'm super hyped about that. Nothing is really changing about the program internally because the fulfillment model of it, like how we actually deliver the services, works amazing. But the name has been changed to The Good Steward, and just because I truthfully believe in this concept. So I asked this question in the past podcast and then earlier in this podcast as well, where I said, if God was to evaluate how you've managed your money so far, would he bless you with more? If God were to evaluate how you've managed your money so far, would he bless you with more? And if the answer is no, there's your answer right there on why you're not attracting a better situation, why you're not reaching the financial status or peace or goals that you want to reach, right? Try to skip a very important part, which is being a good steward of your current situation. And so that's the key, my friends. So I wanted to re-highlight that topic, make the announcement about the program name change, but really kind of just give you guys that story with my story. Right? Didn't come from money, blew a bunch of money, still make a bunch of mistakes till this day, right? But the thing was, is I, at 23 years old, decided I'm going to be a good steward of my money, right? And by the time I was 28 years old, I made my first $1 million 5 years later, right? I humbly, into the grace of God, I've been a millionaire since I was 28 years old. I'm 32 now, right? And I went from at 23 years old, let me think, 23 years old, I maybe had $5,000 in the bank. Maybe. Didn't own a house, nothing. Right? Now I'm 32, or at least 5 years later at 28, made my first $1 million. Was a millionaire by the time I was 28. That's happened in 5 years. I'm not promising you those results, right? Saying the same thing's going to happen to you, but the possibility is there, right? Because anything is possible with God, right? Anything is possible with God. If we serve a prosperous God and we play our part, then why wouldn't things work out? Why wouldn't your financial situation, right, get better, right? But usually the missing piece is the stewardship that you have over your current situation. So I challenge you, leave here today and become a good steward of your money and watch this beautiful concept work in your life as well. So thank you all again for coming back to another episode of Wisdom is Wealth. I hope this episode was helpful for you. If it was, please download, right? Please share with somebody that you think, right, would be able to benefit from this. And whatever platform you're on, download, like, subscribe, comment, show the love, especially because this message, I want it to reach the masses, because this is just something I will die on, knowing that stewardship is the key to a better financial situation. And learning how to do that in a way that glorifies God and allows you to live your life in the process, right, is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you all again. We'll see you in the next episode.